Our long NFL contract nightmare is over. Finally, the Dallas Cowboys reached a long-term agreement with Dak Prescott. Final numbers are big. 4 years, $160 million, $126 million guaranteed. And it feels like the two sides have been negotiating forever. Because they have been. And maybe because we overcover the Cowboys so much, Dak would have earned $37 million this season under the franchise tag. Reaching a long-term deal makes a lot of sense for both sides. But yesterday, I think everybody was in unison in saying the same thing. The Cowboys were going to franchise Dak Prescott. I didn't hear anything where there's a contract, a longer-term contract in the on-deck circle here. And then all of a sudden, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network came out and said, Dak and the Cowboys have agreed to a longer-term deal, and then Shefty had the numbers. Dallas wasn't great with Dak under center last year, but they were a lot worse after he broke his ankle in Week 5 when Andy Dalton came in. But Prescott has established himself as one of the more consistent quarterbacks in the league. He puts up big numbers, and everybody seems to like him in the building. And now the negotiations are over. The talking point really shifts to how good can this team be with Dak getting paid and some other bloated contracts on that roster. But paying Dak Prescott may end up being the easy part. Making this team come together and actually playing at an elite level in 2021, that might be the greater challenge for the Dallas Cowboys. And you start to look at the salary cap issues that they may have here as they move forward. Now, I do think the Cowboys eliminating a distraction was really important. That Dak contract is not just lingering there on the surface. So you get rid of that, eliminating that. And then you start to look at some of these contracts that they already have. And I've said, because you're a Dallas Cowboy, means you get paid, but that doesn't mean you're good. Amari Cooper, $20 million cap hit. DeMarcus Lawrence, $25 million. Zach Martin, $17 million. Tyron Smith, $14 million. Zeke Elliott, $13.7 million. I'm not sold on the offensive line being elite anymore. You win in the trenches. The defensive line, aside from DeMarcus Lawrence, has been a disappointment. Amari Cooper is not an elite wide receiver. Good wide receiver, not elite. But this is what Jerry did, and he did it kind of in reverse order. Let me pay all of these guys, and then let me pay my quarterback. A lot of teams do the other order there. Jerry is trying to win a Super Bowl. I think he was betting against Dak Prescott the previous year or previous 2 years and decided that he was going to have to pay him. And the numbers with Dak Prescott, I don't know what he's going to be in 2 years as far as his salary goes. Jerry Jones is 78. There's no rebuild here. But Dak's contract, where's it going to be in 2 years, 3 years? Where's it going to be after Lamar Jackson? Where's it going to be after Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield? These are guys that are going to get paid as well. And for the life of me, I still don't understand why the next quarterback up makes more than the previous quarterback. Because they're not as good as Patrick Mahomes. They're not as good as Aaron Rodgers. Baker Mayfield is going to make, $40 million? Lamar Jackson, what's he going to make? So there's a lot of things that's attached to Dak Prescott staying in Dallas. That takes one more team off the board for Russell Wilson. And that's another thing to keep an eye on, because we haven't heard anything from Russ or his camp, aside from when they put out the list of 4 teams that he would go to. Because does Russell Wilson get to the point where, or his agent, hey, Dallas is off the board. The Bears can't give us something that's truly attractive. The Saints aren't going to be able to do that either. Maybe it's the Raiders, or I stay in Seattle. Or do I entertain the idea of going to another team that wasn't on my Final Four? Because that might be the direction we're headed. If 2 teams have already made an offer to Seattle, from what I'm told, but we don't know exactly what's in that offer, but we do know those 2 teams are not on Russell Wilson's list. Now what happens? Because if you start to look at what is the story that's going to happen in the offseason, what's left? Deshaun Watson, and can Russell Wilson find harmony in Seattle? We know Deshaun Watson is not going to stay in Houston. He may have to for a little while, but eventually he's going to play someplace else. But there's moving parts here with what's going on. Then we have the draft coming up, and that's going to be pretty interesting. What do the Jets do? Sam Darnold. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is with the 49ers as much as they want to tell me he is. I don't believe that. With the Raiders and Derek Carr. Everybody wants the rookie contract because that's how you build a team. It's really hard to build a team when your quarterback's going to make that kind of money. The reason why Seattle succeeded was because Russ, on that rookie contract, they were able to keep that defense intact. And Dallas doesn't have that luxury with Dak Prescott. If I'm Tom Brady, I would say to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, give me $5 million. Let me have a say in what we spend. Let's say the other $20, $25 million. Let me have a say in that. I'll give you my services the next year for $5 million. If I win the Super Bowl, I get this bonus. Because this isn't about money, and I know it's not my money I'm talking about, but if I'm Tom Brady, hey, I want to win another Super Bowl. How do I do that? Well, I want us to go get Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I want us to be able to pay him. I want to get him. And I want to make sure that we keep Shaq Barrett. Like, these are the things that I would want to do if I'm Tom Brady with my legacy. Now, he may say, no, I need to be paid commensurate to what I do and who I am, whatever I mean to the league, whatever that is. But if you're looking at winning, sometimes you take this money, you want all this money. But with that comes the expectation level of now you probably have to do a whole lot more than what you're expected to do. Like, there's no, hey, Dak, you made it to the playoffs. Now it's, what did you do in the playoffs, Dak? This isn't a feel-good story like Tony Romo was for a while. Oh, that's a nice little story, Tony Romo. And then all of a sudden, Romo's getting paid, and then it wasn't a nice little story. It's different. It changes. It'll change overnight. Patrick Mahomes, that pressure is going to be there the rest of his career. But you're going to have Baker Mayfield, the same thing, Lamar Jackson, the same thing. Josh Allen is going to get paid as well. But I think for Dallas to do this, to move on from this, was really important for both sides. And for Dak Prescott, look, you bet on yourself. I applaud you. You got a great deal. Imagine coming off a broken ankle, like a serious injury. And his negotiations, that salary, it didn't cost him anything. I don't know how healthy he's going to be. I'm sure the doctors are looking at him and they have to sign off on this and pass a test or something. But imagine that. He broke his ankle. And I haven't heard one piece of information where the Cowboys went, yeah, we're not quite sure if he's going to be ready or not, healthy or not. It's a broken ankle. That's trickier than coming back from knee surgery. And it doesn't seem to have hurt him at the bargaining table. He got everything he wanted. No trade, can't franchise him, and it's 4 years. They'll spread it out over 6, help the Cowboys a little bit here, and then he gets back in the mix after 4 more years. And then he'll be 32 years of age and be able to cash in on one more contract here. But some of these contracts, I think that Patrick Mahomes' deal is going to be a bargain. We're going to look back and we're going to go, Kansas City got a bargain. And it sounds crazy when you go 10 years, $450 million. It's probably, I said it at the time, it's team friendly and it'll probably be a bargain. Yes, Eden.
But people have probably been saying this for 20 or 30 years, right? But can this rate of paying quarterbacks possibly sustain itself for the next 10 years?
I said it this morning, Seton.
How can that possibly? Are you looking at sometime in the next 10 years, is some kid going to be $1 billion quarterback? There's just no way.
You wonder how much. It's just like the NBA. We've done the same thing where we go, wait, that guy's making $40 million a year? And you wonder, the owners don't have a salary cap on what they can make, but there is a salary cap in play, with what the players can make and then how you navigate around that. With the NBA, it's a little bit different. Now, the money's not as big with the TV contracts, but, how many players are you paying? Whereas the NFL, that's trickier when you're trying to build a roster. I still look at what Dallas did, and it's just the contracts are bloated. Zeke Elliott didn't like that deal. I don't want a second deal for a running back. The offensive line has been banged up. They've spent money on the wide receivers. They've spent money on what we thought were named defensive players, and it hasn't worked out. So you got the contracts done, and you have, of all the teams in the NFC East, we don't know who Washington's going to have at quarterback. The Eagles got Jalen Hurts, and the Giants, who knows if Daniel Jones is their long-term future. Like Dallas has an easy road within the division. And then they have to do some damage coming into the postseason.